Hello everyone, and welcome to my CBS B&B Full Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Rich Forrester is really upset. He just found out that his dad Eric Forrester is working with Katie. Rich always thought that being loyal to Eric Forrester was the important thing. He believed that no matter what happened, loyalty would always mean something. Fashion. Goes people fall in and out of love, and sometimes family members do not get along. Being loyal to Eric Forrester was something that Rich thought would never change. That was the moment when Rich heard something he was not supposed to hear. It was a conversation that made his blood run cold. This conversation made Rich think about something that he never thought could be true. The things people said in that conversation changed everything for Rich. Rich had to think about the truth that he did not know before. Eric Forrester was getting together with Katie Logan. He was joining forces with Katie Logan to do something. Eric Forrester and Katie Logan were on the side now. And not socially. Not emotionally. Professionally. The truth hit Rich hard, like when you see a car crash happening in slow motion. You know what is going on before you even feel it. Rich just stood there outside Eric's office, not moving. One of his hands was near the door handle. He could hear his heart beating really loudly in his ears. Katie's voice was coming from the side of the door, which was not closed all the way. She sounded very calm and sure of herself. Rich could tell that Katie was not doubting anything she was saying. Her voice was really clear and strong, like she knew what she was talking about. Rich was frozen in place, listening to Katie's voice and trying to make sense of what was happening. Katie said that she will not do anything to hurt Forrester Creations. She will not work with Rich. Forrester Creations is a deal to her. She likes Forrester Creations. She does not like working with Rich, not after everything that happened with Forrester Creations and Rich. Eric gave a response away. He was very firm and sure of what he was saying. You will not be working under him, Eric said. You will be working with me. Rich felt the floor tilt beneath him. The floor was. Rich felt like he was going to fall. Rich did not like this one bit, because the floor should be steady and it was not. Rich was worried that something bad was going to happen to him. Rich thought about what he could do to make the floor stop tilting. Eric Forrester was doing something that really surprised everyone. His father was the founder of the company. He had taught Eric Forrester everything he knows. Now Eric Forrester was offering Katie Logan a job that meant she would not have to answer to Rich. Eric Forrester was basically giving Katie Logan a position that was really important. She would be able to work without Rich being her boss. This was a deal because Eric Forrester was giving Katie Logan a role that Eric Forrester himself had a lot of control over. When Rich finally pushed the door open, the air in the room changed away. Katie turned around. You could see the surprise on her face for a second before she covered it up. Eric did not react all. He did not say sorry. Rich and Katie and Eric were all in this situation now. Eric did not look like he felt bad about it. That really hurt me the most. The thing that hurt the most was that. It was the fact that it hurt the most. Rich asked what this was. He sounded angry. He was trying to stay calm. It seemed like someone was offering Katie a job and Rich was not happy about it. He thought that this job should have been discussed with him first. Rich said it sounded like someone was giving Katie a position without talking to him about it. Eric got up slowly from behind his desk. He did everything on purpose. That is what I am doing. The words landed heavy. That was final. The words really landed heavy. That was it, final. Katie stood up. She felt really uncomfortable all of a sudden. Rich did not even notice her. His eyes were fixed on Eric. He was looking at his father Eric's face to see if he could find some kind of sign that this was all a big mistake. Rich thought that maybe this was a plan that he did not understand yet. Eric's face was calm and peaceful. He looked very sure of himself. Eric did not look sorry all. Rich said to her, "You cannot work for Katie." He turned around to face her quickly. "You cannot work here at Forrester Creations," Rich told her. Katie crossed her arms. She looked really hurt. She was not going to back down. "I do not need your Rich," Katie said to Rich. "And I am not giving my approval," Rich shot back. "You have crossed lines before. You have used the Rich family before. Now you are back because what is the reason? You think Eric will protect you from being held responsible for your actions?" Eric slammed his hand on the desk. The sound was really loud. It was like a gunshot. Eric said, "That is enough." He was talking about something that had been going on for a while with the people in the room. Eric had had enough of it. The room was quiet after Eric slammed his hand on the desk. Said, "That is enough, Rich." It was not because he was scared. The reason Rich flinched was because he was really surprised. Eric ever yelled at anyone. When Eric did raise his voice, it was a deal. It meant that something important had gone wrong with the situation. Rich knew that when Eric raised his voice, it meant something was seriously wrong with Eric. Eric said, "You do not get to tell people what to do." He meant that the person he was talking to could not make all the decisions by themselves. Eric felt that this person had become too bossy and only thought about what they wanted. The way they were leading had become about them and what they thought was best for themselves, not what was best for everyone else. Eric was saying that the person's leadership style had changed and it was not good. Rich looked at him. "You are talking about something that's personal to me. You are saying that my authority is being undermined at my company," Rich said. "My own company where I am in charge is the place where my authority is being questioned." Eric said this in a tone. "I am talking about you letting grudges get in the way of your judgment. Katie has a lot of experience. She has a lot of insight. Katie is different from you because Katie knows how to show restraint." That accusation really hurt me. The accusation cut into my feelings. It was a painful thing for me to hear and it made me feel very bad. The accusation was something that cut deep. Katie finally spoke again. Her voice was softer now. "This is not about getting at you, Rich. This is about the company surviving and the legacy surviving. You have been making decisions because of how you feel. Everyone can see that the company and the legacy are what are at stake here, and that is what this is about, the survival of the company and the legacy." Rich laughed with a lot of bitterness. He said, "Is it really everyone or just the people who get something out of pushing Rich?" There was silence. It was really heavy. The silence felt loaded. Rich left the office a while after that. He could not stop thinking about what had happened. Eric did something that hurt Rich much. It was not about work, it was about their relationship. Eric made a choice that made Rich feel like he was not on his side anymore. Rich had always been able to trust his father. Now he felt like he was not trusted by his father. The Rich thing with his father was very bad. Rich felt like he was on the side of what his father thought was right. Rich was very upset about what Eric did to him, to Rich. News traveled fast at Forrester Creations like it always does. People were whispering to each other in the halls. The employees were looking at each other nervously. Forrester Creations was seeing a change in power and nobody knew what would happen next at Forrester Creations. Steffi was the person to go and talk to Rich. She wanted to know what was going on with him, so she decided to confront Rich. Steffi felt like she had to confront Rich about what he did. "This is about Katie, is it not?" she asked directly in his office. "Is Eric taking Katie's side?" Rich rubbed his temples. He said, "He is giving her a lot of influence over me, Rich." Steffi's jaw got really tight. She said, "This woman has done this before. She gets to know people, they start to trust her. Then she is right inside their personal space, like inside the walls of their life." Rich said this quietly. He said, "This time it is different." Then he said, "This time my dad invited my sister in." The fact that he finally understood what was going on really scared him. This feeling of fear stuck with the realization that he had been trying to avoid. The realization that he had been running from was now something that he could not escape. The realization was always there haunting him. Katie was stuck between feeling happy and feeling scared. She did not want to hurt Rich. At the same time, she was not going to make herself smaller just to make him feel better. It meant a lot to her that Eric believed in her. This was also causing some problems that she had not thought about before. Katie thought about Rich, how her actions would affect him, and she thought about Eric and how his faith in her was important to Katie herself. Katie felt like she was in a spot and she was not sure what to do. Brooke had a talk with her that evening. Brooke wanted to clear the air, and she did this by confronting her that evening. Brooke was very upset. She decided to confront her about what was bothering her that evening. Brooke said to her sister, "You had to know this was going to cause a lot of trouble." She looked at her sister's face, waiting for a reaction. You had to know that Ridge would think this is a betrayal by the people he trusts, namely Ridge would see this as a betrayal by Ridge's own family and friends, specifically by people like Ridge. Katie let out a breath. She said, I knew Eric's brother was going to be really upset. I did not think Eric would pick me over his brother. Brooke whispered that neither did anyone. At the Forrester mansion, Eric sat by himself for a time after the house had become quiet. He was staring at drawings that were pinned to the wall of his room. Eric knew what he had done at the Forrester mansion. He knew the problems it would cause for the people at the Forrester mansion. Eric also knew that Ridge had become a different person. He was meaner and more angry, and he only cared about being in control of everything at the Forrester mansion. It was necessary for someone to step in and take control of the situation. Someone had to intervene in this matter. The situation was getting out of hand. Someone had to intervene to prevent things from getting worse. If it had to be Katie Logan, then that is the way it is. Katie Logan is the one, so we have to deal with Katie Logan. The war lines were drawn. Not between Ridge and Katie, but between a father and his son, between the legacy of Forrester Creations and the evolution of Forrester Creations. And as Forrester Creations stood on the edge of a change, one thing became very clear. Forrester Creations was at a crossroads, and the future of Forrester Creations was uncertain. This was not about who worked for whom. It was about something. The people and the companies they worked for, like the workers and the bosses, were all part of it. The whole thing was about the workers and the companies they worked for. It was about who truly held power, and how much betrayal a family could survive before it finally tore itself apart. Ridge did not go home that night. He just stayed out. Ridge was not going back to his house. He did not leave Forrester Creations. He stayed there for a time after it got dark. The other people who worked there had all gone home. The room was quiet. It felt weird. Forrester Creations used to feel like a place where he belonged. Now it felt strange and uncomfortable. He looked around at all the drawings on the wall and the pieces of fabric in the newspaper articles about Forrester Creations. Everything seemed to be asking him the thing. I'm sitting here. I wonder how things got so bad. How did the situation become like this? The thing that is bothering me is how it came to this point. I do not understand what happened to make things turn out this way. The whole thing is just really confusing to me. I wish I knew how it came to this. Eric's words replayed in his head on a relentless loop. You do not get to tell people what to do with this situation. The thing is, you are not in charge of this anymore, and that means you cannot make all the decisions about this. This is not yours to control, and people are going to do what they want with this, not what you want them to do with this. Not anymore. Those two words hurt more than someone directly saying something about you. They meant that things were getting worse. Ridge was failing. Not as the CEO of his company, but also as a son to his parents. Those words were like a criticism that said Ridge had not done a good job. They cut deeper because they implied that Ridge was losing his grip on things. Ridge had. That was a hard thing for him to hear. The words made him feel like he was in decline. Ridge poured himself a drink from the bottle he kept locked in his desk. He did not drink from it often. Tonight he really needed it. The brown liquid felt hot as it went down. It made him feel better in a moment that felt like it was getting crazy. He looked out through the glass walls of his office at the design floor, thinking about the talks that were probably already happening behind his back. Ridge thought about what his people were saying about him. He wondered what they were thinking. He looked at the design floor again, and he felt like he was losing control of the situation at his company. Ridge thought about his company. Eric and Katie. Katie and power. Ridge and irrelevance. Across town, Katie Logan was sitting on the edge of her bed. She was still wearing her work clothes. Her phone was face down beside her. Katie Logan had not moved in over an hour. The excitement of the day had finally gone away. Now Katie Logan had a feeling in her chest. It was a knot of anxiety. It would not go away. She did not plan this, not like this was supposed to happen. She had something in mind for this situation, but it did not turn out that way. The thing is, this is not what she wanted, not all. Now she has to deal with it. She is looking at the situation, thinking that this is really not what she had planned for, not like this. She really wanted to speak up. She thought Forrester Creations was going in the direction because Ridge was making decisions based on his feelings. What really got to her was the hurt look in Ridge's eyes when he found out Eric was supporting her. The memory of that look has stayed with her. She keeps thinking about the pain she saw in Ridge's eyes. Ridge's reaction was not what she expected. She saw how much it affected Ridge when Eric sided with her. Katie closed her eyes, let out a slow breath. She said to herself that she was doing the thing for the company and for Eric and for stability. Katie was trying to convince herself that this was the decision for the company and for Eric, and it would bring stability to her life. Katie thought about the company and Eric, how they needed stability, and she was willing to do what it takes to make that happen for the company and for Eric. Down inside of her she knew that something else was also true. A part of her felt really tired of people not taking her. She was getting sick of being ignored and not listened to. The fact that people were always dismissing her was something that the woman was tired of. Tired of being overruled. Tired of being treated like her instincts were liabilities instead of strengths. Eric had seen that thing happen. Eric was there when it happened. Eric had seen that. The morning you could feel the tension at Forrester Creations. It was really bad. When Ridge walked by, people stopped talking. They did not look at him. The executive floor was very quiet, like it was waiting for something to happen. It felt like a war zone after a fight, where everyone is waiting for the next fight to start. Forrester Creations was like that, quiet but ready to blow up at any moment. The board meeting was supposed to start at 10 o'clock. The board meeting was going to begin at that time. The board meeting was set for 10. Everyone had to be there on time for the board meeting. Steffi got to the office early. Her high heels made a noise on the marble floor as she walked into Ridge's office. You could tell by looking at her face that she already knew what was going on. Steffi looked really upset. Ridge could see that. Steffi was not happy. It was clear that something was bothering her. Steffi said that Katie is sitting in on the meeting. My dad invited Katie to the meeting. Katie is going to be at the meeting with us. Ridge's jaw got really tight. He said, "Course he did. This is not about consulting, is it?" Steffi asked. He is putting her in a place, he is positioning her. Ridge said yes, and he stood up. He is the person we are talking about, Ridge said. Steffi crossed her arms. You could see the anger in her eyes. Then we will stop this thing, she said. We will stop Steffi and the person's problem together. Ridge hesitated. He really wanted to say yes away so he could team up with his daughter and take charge like he always did with Ridge's family. Something was holding him back. The situation with Eric was not about Ridge's family anymore. Eric was setting a limit. That changed things for Ridge and his daughter. And crossing that boundary could cost Ridge more than his pride. Eric was sitting at the head of the table in the boardroom. He looked very calm. Eric was going through some papers like everything was normal. Then he looked up when Katie came into the room. Eric gave Katie a smile to make her feel better. He said to me, "Are you ready?" Katie nodded, even though her stomach was doing flips. "I am as ready as I will ever be," Katie said. When Ridge and Steffi walked into the room, a while later you could feel the tension right away. Ridge sat down without looking at Katie. Steffi's mean stare at Katie was really clear. Ridge and Steffi being there made the room feel cold all of a sudden. The meeting started with the updates, but nobody was paying attention. Every person in the room was waiting for the meeting to get to the part, which was the inevitable thing that everyone was expecting, the inevitable. Eric finally cleared his throat. He was ready to talk. Eric had been quiet for a while. Now Eric was going to say something. He said that there is something he wants to talk about before they move on. He is making a change now, and Katie Logan is going to be an executive advisor for the company. Katie Logan will be reporting directly to him, which means she will be working closely with him. He wants Katie Logan to have this role, and he wants her to start doing this job immediately. The room just exploded into chaos. It was like everything was calm. Then suddenly the room erupted. Things were getting crazy. The room. It was really scary. One of the board members whispered, "What?" This person said, "You have got to be kidding me." With a shake of their head, another person said this in a voice. Ridge got up fast and his chair made a loud noise on the floor. "This is what I told you not to do," he said, talking about the thing that the other person did, the thing that Ridge had warned them about, this thing that Ridge had specifically told them not to do. Eric looked him in the eye. "You do not get to say no to this," Eric said, talking about the thing that was important to Eric. Steffi slammed her hand on the table. "Dad, I am telling you, this is just crazy. She is not a part of our family. Steffi thinks that she does not understand our family and what we are going through, and that is a problem for Steffi." Steffi feels that she cannot just be a part of our family, like that. Eric cut in, said, she knows a lot. He went on to say, she knows how to keep the company safe from problems that are coming from inside the company itself, like it falling from the